Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon to our friends in Europe. Here we are again, another state of the market. We've fallen so hard to levels. These are levels we've not seen since Thursday, folks. Be terrified. Be afraid. I kid, of course. My name is Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Welcome to Option Pit. I am joined by one Hans Albrecht. He is the master of turbo income. Today we're here to talk a little about strategy, but we're going to be talking about something called MTI, which is short for the market temperature indicator. And Hans is going to introduce us to how it works, how he implements it, and why it's so effective. So I'm excited to see that. Let's just get a real brief rundown of what's happening in markets. Little follow through from Monday. Again, we had such a strong rally that, you'd be shocked if we didn't have a little bit of selling on today, and lo and behold, we are. So that is, the part that I think is here. That's what I want. All right, this is what I think is kind of interesting, and then you can see the 50-day moving average continues to hold. I'm going to tell you, the Fed is in a corner here. The Fed is in a corner. Look at the bond market here, folks. They have to be. TLT is down to below 87. The Fed almost has to be dovish. If you look at where the bond market is, are we sharing my screen yet? I don't think we are.
No.
All right, let's share that screen. There we go. All right, and this is the important part I need you to see. All right, look, we're now getting to some of these threatening levels. You want to know why we've rolled over the last couple days? Because the bond market's really started to taper off. The longer and closer that, the longer we stay above 4.8 for the 30-year bond and above 4.3 for the 10-year, the worse things are. And, you've got the 30-year approaching 4.9, a 4.9% yield. We touch 5, things are really, really going to roll over. So what am I expecting to see out of the Fed tomorrow? It is going to be a symbol of peace. Let's just say that. We're going to watch. Powell's going to come out there and he's going to have a flock of doves released because they're painted in a corner. So that's why, despite kind of the couple days selling, I think when the Fed comes out dovish, you're going to see a better back end of the week. And that's kind of how I'm positioning myself. I still looking at and waiting on the Russell 2000 to get that second leg up. And I do think that will happen. But the Russell, just the redheaded stepchild of the market. It is indeed. So last but not least, just a real brief look at VIX. We're down 1%. VIX is up a point. Futures term structure remains in backwardation, but a very, very flat backwardation. Post-Fed, I think there is a very strong chance that if my thesis is right, that we're going to see the VIX threatening 20 by Friday. Now, if my thesis is wrong, that the Fed comes out hawkish, buy cheap, puts. Buy cheap puts. All right. Now, the opposite of buying cheap puts is harvesting income, harvesting turbo income from expensive puts and calls via risk defined and risk control. And people are always kind of afraid of the income piece. We never had income here at Option Pit because one wasn't one of me and Andrew's or Alicia's strength, but it was something we always wanted. And so when I came across Hans, and I'd known Hans for a very long time, he's a heck of a guy. He's our director of income trading at Option Pit. He's got nearly 30 years. I know he looks like he's in his early 30s, but he's actually got almost 30 years of experience trading options. Like Leisha, myself, Andrew, he was a professionally trained market maker. That is a quality we look for in our traders. He managed over $1 billion in option strategies and generated $750 million in option generated cash flow for one of the larger mutual funds in Canada. And he ran a couple of black swan downside protection funds and a dozen income specializing ETFs. He is a really fantastic trader and a fantastic human being, which is why I wanted him to come on here and talk to us about why, with peak VIX beyond us, but VIX in the 20s, this might be the perfect time to start looking at income trading. He's going to talk about the income strategies that work. He's going to give you his pillars. And then he's going to give you a deep dive on the market temperature indicator and some real life examples. And I'll be along the way, Hans, I'll be monitoring the questions and I'll pepper them in when there's something very pressing. Otherwise, we will hit every question at the end that we can get to. So with that, Hans, welcome. Good to have you here, my friend.
Thank you, Mark. Can you see my little slide deck here?
We can.
Okay, terrific. And by the way, I use oil of Olay. That's what I credit my probably mid-20s complexion to, but that's not what today is about.
I was thinking, the complexion of an infant. It's
buttery soft, really.
Exactly.
So welcome everyone. Thanks, Mark. So some of you have probably seen me before. If you haven't, I'm Hans, Director of Income, as Mark said. And so why income? Well, why not? Everybody needs income, right? So that goes without saying. But we're seeing that income trading has really become quite popular, more important than ever, I'd say. We've got inflation, we've got rates hopefully coming down later on this year. We'll see what Papa Powell does for us, but IWM really needs those rates to come down, so that it needs to sniff that out, and it's not quite getting what it wants yet. But the whole idea, and when we talk about turbo income, the whole idea, and this relates to what I've done for almost 30 years of generating income and trading many kinds of option strategies, is sometimes the market does the lifting for you, right? And sometimes I'm greedy. I'm as greedy as the next person, and so I also do a hybrid income trade called a turbo, which we'll talk about as well. When things look really, really good, I don't want to make $2 if I can make $7 or $10, right? So it's always good. Gordon Gekko was right. Greed is okay. It's what we do here. So, but income should be a key part of everyone's trading and investing approach, right? And it happens to be a very key part of what I've done for almost 3 decades. So $1 billion, 750 million, blah, 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 blah. Managing funds as far as funds located in Australia, North America, and the 2 Black Swan downside protect funds. So the reason for this little resume isn't just to hopefully impress you a little bit with my pedigree, but It's to kind of show you that my career has been this nice balance of offense and defense. And so I credit a lot of that to that market making background, which I did for almost 15 years. So there was in that role, I don't know if you know this, Mark, but there was no salary, right? You had to know offense and defense. You couldn't just kind of let it happen and let those trades run against you forever. If you didn't make money, you didn't get paid. And if you lost a bunch of money, you know the role, Mark,
You
the
lost
drill, Mark.
money.
Yeah, you got to make it back, and then you got to make money on top of that, plus all your costs and all that before you got a check. So that kind of pressure really teaches you to respect every dollar, to respect risk, to know when to press, to know when to hold back. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but it sets you on a path to an approach that really has this respect for markets. And so in Turbo Income, we talk about all our pillars of edge, the fundamentals, the technicals, the volatility, market conditions, right? Our market's giving us the all clear. It's exactly what Mark's talking about earlier. Are they telling us to get the heck out of the way? They've been tough lately. So we're not quite getting the all clear. It's a little bit muddy out there right now. And so you have to be measured in your approaches, right? We're treating this like a trader's market. Which it is. And one of the cool tools that I use in Turbo Income is that MTI indicator. So it's the market temperature indicator. It can be used for the overall market. It can be used for individual stocks. It can be used for GLD if you're looking at gold, whatever. And we'll get into that in a moment. First, a little brag. So far in Turbo Income, we are 6 for 6. So really nice trades, average profit 35.4%. Average day held in these trades has been 9 days. So some of them, a couple of them were 15 days, a couple of them were 2 or 3 days. And so a really, really nice return, a really good kind of response from markets, in my opinion, a response to our trades so far, which is great. And again, measured, waiting for that right moment. I don't think I did a trade for about 10 days because the moment wasn't right, right? It's like Cialis. You got to wait for the moment to be right. So let's get back to the MTI here. The market temperature indicator, it's a point system. I'm not going to get into everything under the hood, but it is looking for strength. It is looking for momentum. It's looking for stability, which is really, really key. You heard me mention fundamentals earlier. We have a very robust filtering system that goes into how we look for names. So you're going to find that a lot of the names we use are very, very high quality. And then
so one more time. So it's a point system. Everybody write this down because you may not have a point system, but these are the things that a professional is looking for to figure out whether they like or dislike a stock. All right. And what so those three things you're looking for are, again,
we are looking for strength. We are looking for momentum, but we don't always have to have all three of those. We're looking for a sense of stability. So one of the nice things about the MTI is it doesn't have to be full green. If it is, I'm going to turbo it. I'm going to go for it. I did that. I'm going to show you in a moment. I did that 3 times last fall in Amazon, and it did fantastic because when the setup is perfect or pretty close to it, then we really go for it. But if it's yellow, it's going to lend itself to a little bit more of the income focused side of things, right? So there's always something to do. When it's full red and get the heck out of the way, then that important position comes into play, which is sitting on your hands sometimes just for a moment, right? We want to respect what markets are doing. That's really what income trading is about, respecting what's happening out there. So it is going to give us, it's a blend of metrics. It's got Hans's dampener in there, which is, I'm going to show you how that works in a moment. And that's going to dial back your excitement sometimes. When everybody else, one of the hardest things, Mark, is the noise of markets, right? There's always something going on. On CNBC, they're telling you to do this and that. And it's kind of stupid, right? On up days, everyone's bullish. On down days, everyone's bearish. It is just it's swinging you around like a cat on a tail in terms of your emotional state. And there's just so much going on. It's nice to have rules and guardrails, and that's really one of the big reasons I really love
having the right group of people around you, the right group to talk to, is so important. If I put on CNBC, all I would do is buy Apple at $240 and sell it at $185. And I would do that over and over and over and over again. So that would be what I'd be up to. So that's why one of the important things is having the right community, the right group of people that nurture smart decision making and smart trading, and use things like that are quantitatively based, and maybe a little qualitative as well, but primarily quantitatively based, and will take the emotion and the excitement out of it, and then applying a dampener, something to say, hey, maybe this is a little too good, the this is too good to be true type of thing, also makes a lot of sense in a market like this. This is why, again, having the right voices around you and with you is so key.
Well, I saw somebody mention this the other day. I thought it was really cool. They said trading and investing to some extent is a bit of art and science, right? The science you can get, the MTI, the many tools that we use, that is the science. You can start with that as a beginner, as somebody who's getting going. You start with the science. The art can take some time. And when you are in a community, we are all market makers. I've never seen anywhere like Option Pit. God's honest truth. I've never seen anywhere that has such a great blend of people who've actually done this and have that art part under the belt as well. So it is a combination of all the great things. So the MTI, great system. Green go, yellow can be caution, a little bit more focused on income. And we're plodding along. We take a look at the SPY right now. One of the great things about the MTI, if you look back to sort of when we started to fall off the edge here, the MTI went red. So sometimes it's really good at sort of getting you to the sidelines. So before the S&P dropped 1,000 points, it said, hey, at the very least, caution, hedge, watch out, do not add to risk. It's amazing how often I see a chart that looks terrible, and I see people like, yeah, great, I'm gonna get in there. What are you not seeing? The picture is not good, and we always have to respect that. So
the MTI is that those bars on the bottom, right? And that's kind of telling you what's happening here. And you can see for all the way up until February, right? It's telling him, hey, things don't look that bad. You get a couple of days, a little bit of selling end of the year. But it's mostly saying, yeah, you can be long here. And then right as the market starts to really roll over, it goes red, and it does not come back to being red. And this is something that turbo income people,
to being green. It doesn't get back to being
learn
green.
how to use.
Exactly.
It's really a neat indicator, because it's pretty spot on for get the heck out of Dodge, and that is
and you
so
can see
valuable.
Under here, under the 0 line mark, is where you see this dampener kick in. So when it's a little cautious, right? So even as we are green on the SPY here, we are starting to get shoots of worry. This is telling you that something is bubbling under the surface. It is telling you something is not quite right, not quite perfect. And then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper into the red. And this is just, be very, very careful sort of scenario. So it's really nice in that it doesn't always get you in right away. It's kind of like, you think of it as a cruise ship. It's very good at getting you out very quickly, but getting in, it's waiting, right? Those first people who jump on breakouts, you often get the reversal and they get shaken out a little bit. This thing is like that cruise ship. It's turning. Once the cruise ship starts going in one direction, then it starts getting that momentum again. So on the SPY lately, you're starting to see that direction of the MTI is very important too. So when I see super cautious, then it starts to get a little bit more positively, it sort of goes from a deep red to a lighter red, then it starts to get yellow. Now you combine that with a breakout above a line. Now you've got something pretty special for a potential income trade. It is not a turbo trade, right? This is not an environment. You showed the VIX curve earlier. This is not the turbo trade kind of environment. So it keeps you in your lane. It keeps you where you need to be, and helps to keep those emotions in check. So that's one of the great things, right? We are our own worst enemies. So as long as if we have good tools that can help us, that is always going to be a benefit. So Costco, great run. It's on my short list of great names that are acting really well in a poor market. In fact, with Turbo Income, you get a list of long-term holds. I have 3 names that are making new all-time highs or just a smidge below all-time highs. So really great extra stuff that you get in there that we've done some great trades on as well. But you can see we have this direction going again, right? Deep red to yellow, yellow. It's telling you that something's improving, but it's not time to jump into the pool with both feet, right? So these are some of the things. Tesla, you can see here, sometimes you get this sort of, plodding along, and then you get a kind of indication. You can see this sort of starting to turn green. It's telling you that something is improving in this particular situation. Then it gets you in on this massive breakout. In fact, it gets you in before the breakout. So that's when you can kind of go, well, I'm not getting confirmation from the chart, but the MTI is telling me something is brewing. I'm going to start looking at trades that could make sense. And start to build a thesis for a potential move up in Tesla. And sure enough, it just goes bananas to the upside. And then again, once it gets out, it tells you blood red, stay the heck out of Dodge. This is not the stock. These are not the droids you're looking for. Look for other ones. You want to start to look at other things. And I talk about that all the time. We have 3 different processes for filtering stocks depending on the kind of environment you're in. So we get deep into it. And then every now and then, here's a hood trade, right? Starting to improve a little bit. We get above that trend line. Now this is a stock that, that's on my list, long-term list, starting to look kind of interesting again. So I'm excited. I wish I could show you. I can show you a few that are looking better and starting to ramp up for turbos. But right now, if I were to look at hood, I would say this is not a stock that is about to go bananas to the upside. It is not a market that's giving me any indication that I need to go all in on anything, but it is starting to look very interesting from an income standpoint. So this is a stock I would definitely consider. There are maybe 4 or 5 of them out there right now that I would very much consider. Now, when things get super duper, this is an example of the fall in Amazon. We did 3 turbo trades, bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang, all the way up to 230. So a good majority of the time, we are going to be traditional income, but every now and then we're going to get greedy and we're going to go for it. And I think, in my view, that's really, I remember years ago, advisors, I ran about 700 million in covered call funds and different option overlay funds. And I would tell advisors, I'd say, I kind of don't even like selling covered calls. And they'd say, what do you mean? And I'd say, that's what you do. And I'd say, I need to be compelled. I want edge. I want good option pricing. I want to see that this is the best strategy for the moment. And that is really what being a good income trader is about. It's not forcing things, it's waiting, it's being measured in your approaches. And the MTI is a fantastic tool that can give you a number of different indications. More income, go for it, or sit on your hands just for a little bit and let's see what happens. So really, really great part of Turbo Income. I'm really, really excited about it. The only way you can get it is with me, is with Turbo Income. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Mark, but I encourage everybody to take a look.
Yeah. Well, one, we got 2 questions here. We'll get to that 1 second. Would you, Jerry's saying, is this less frenetic than debit trading? How would you just to compare income trading to debit, buying options?
Yeah. So it's quite different. This is more of the kind of let time help you out, let the passage of time help you out. Whereas the long option trades, you're kind of gaining that leverage. You're on that sort of more positive side of leverage. You're looking for those explosive moves. And the turbo actually combines the two, right? It combines that income sleeve with the leverage sleeve. So that's what makes it kind of amazing. You kind of benefit from both when that works out nicely. But and we get into it. We don't have to get into all the details. But in the program, there's a master class, classes that kind of get into where is that volatility risk premium? Are options expensive? Are they cheap? So we look into all that stuff. And at times, you're absolutely right. Options are going to be expensive from the long standpoint. And sometimes they're going to be cheap. And that's what Option Pit does really, really well at times. I see Andrew say that all the time. Man, options are getting really, really cheap, as well as you, Mark. So different games, a little bit more hitting singles and doubles, I would say, on the income side, whereas the long option game is a little more, party on.
I think that's a fair assessment. Well, if you'd like to play the long game, if you want to share my screen, you can join Turbo. We're adding MTI. So Hans will give you the MTI indicator for being a member of Turbo Income. Turbo Income is going to average about 1 to 2 trades a week. Income based, there will be bonus turbo trades that will have that when MTI is giving Hans the all green signal to really ramp up those returns. You can try it for a month for just $199. Of course, the best deal is going to do the annual for 40% off. Just click the link that is above the chat, or click the link that is in chat, or if you're already an Option Pit member and you're wondering if you have an account credits or anything like that, give Ted, Drew, and Zach a call, 888-872-3301. But again, you're getting Hans's scanner that's going to pull it down to the single best income stock for the week. It will pull in turbo trades. You're going to get that MTI indicator. And again, we are going to be, Hans does an incredible job of educating, teaching. So we're not just going to throw the MTI at you and tell you good luck. We're going to help you use it and trade it and make money with it. So once again, click the link or give us a call, 888-872-3301. All right. Somebody, Enzo sat through the presentation. He wants to know what the MTI looks like on Meta.
On Meta. Yeah, so you know what? It's starting to give us shoots of yellow. In fact, not just 2 yellow. We got a 3 yellow, so 3 is better than 2. So in my view, it's a little bit more income oriented. And one of the nice things, guys, is that when you have a market like this and a VIX of 25, you have option pricing that is a little bit more robust. So the nice thing about Turbo Income is you're not selling options as aggressively when the VIX is 12.
No.
Right now, that's a more difficult game. When option pricing is robust, we have uncertainty out there. That is when you're getting that better option pricing, better premiums for those income trades. So as I said earlier, when the market wants to just go gangbusters, we are going to do trades that let the market do more of the work for us. Right now, I see on Meta, we're getting a good yellow, which is good. It's one of my favorite stocks on my list, by the way. We've come up from 475 or so. Great numbers and a chart that is really starting to shape up. But given the overall market situation, I would respect that yellow and say this is still a little bit more, let's play the income side of things. We would be looking at some trades to take advantage of a little bit more sideways movement and take advantage of those very high option prices.
So Enzo's asking if you trade your own money, and the answer is yes. All of us trade our own money when we're trading with you guys. Do you need a large account for MTI? MTI can be used for directional trading or income trading. For Hans's service, I forgot, what do we recommend for like a kind of a minimum account size, Hans?
It doesn't have to be very big at all, because a lot of the income trades, the pure income trades, typically use about $850 to $1,000 sort of thing. Sometimes trades will run a little bit higher than that, but your traditional trade is going to be quite reasonable. So
Okay.
definitely you don't need a massive account for this.
Yeah. So are they all debit trades? These are credit trades, Enzo. So generally credit. The turbo side of the credit of the turbo income trade is is of course a debit, but primarily this is to produce an income stream. So again, you can click the link, you can join, you get that MT today. You get the MTI indicator included.
And there are
That is
videos,
not
Mark.
going
There
to
are
be
videos on.
included.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
that is not going to be included going forward. So it's a
That's a
really good
really big deal.
opportunity.
Yeah, very big deal, guys, because there are videos on how to install this. We've got it for TradingView, for Thinkorswim, etc. So it is easy peasy to get this set up.
Awesome. All right, Hans, one more time, click the link, join, get that best income trade of the week, get those turbo bonus trades, and get this MTI indicator for an extremely limited time before we take it away, because I mean, it is eventually going to be kind of a thing. It's on my charts. So just put that in perspective. It's something that I'm trying to start toying with implementing into my own trading, because it works. Why wouldn't I? All right, everybody. Once again, click the link. And if you're an option customer wondering if you got credits, give us a call, 888-872-3301. We'll be back tomorrow. Andrew will be joining me, and we're going to be digging into some more funness. All right, everybody. For Hans Albrecht, our Imperial Overlord of Income, but really the master of the MTI, I am Mark Sebastian. I'm your only option, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. We are going to go live for the Federal Reserve as well. So there's be kind of like a bonus day tomorrow. So be prepared for that. All right, everybody. I'm Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a good one.